Greater Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA, 1864 to 2024. One of the most prominent churches in the Church of Christ Holiness, USA movement is Greater Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA, 1013 Damascus Circle, Hazelhurst, Mississippi 39083. Since its beginning, the church has been instrumental in the community's development. As far as records indicate, Damascus Church began during slavery and grew out of the white Damascus Baptist Church in 1865. When the slaves were set free, a division arose in the church due to a disposition of Negro membership free of bondage after the Civil War. Because of this, the Negro congregation was given 10 acres of land to continue their worship service. In 1867, the already established colored Damascus Baptist Church began having service in a bush harbor under the leadership of Reverend Tom Escany, a pastor. He served from 1867 until his death in 1872, a total of 5 years. In 1872, Elder W.S. Pleasant was elected pastor. He pastored the Damascus Baptist Church from 1872 to 1896, which was 24 years. In 1896, Elder Pleasant and the church joined with Bishop Charles Price Jones, founder of the Church of Christ Holiness, USA. And Damascus Church became one of the first churches to join the Holiness movement. The church became known as Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA. The church was able to move out of the bush harbor into their erected church building under Elder Pleasant's leadership. He served as pastor of the new denominational church from 1896 to 1918, 22 years. Elder Pleasant's total service to Damascus Church was 46 years. He resigned as pastor to do evangelistic work. He died February 7, 1935. In 1919, the church accepted Elder L.J. Bronson as the second pastor of the new denominational church. He pastored from 1919 to 1932, a total of 12 years, before resigning to go to Norfolk, Virginia. He died in 1941. On January 27, 1931, the Reverend George A. Thomas, a man of many talents, came as pastor of Damascus Church. In 1966, Reverend Thomas built the second church since the bush harbor. The dedication of the church was held on September 15, 1966. In June 1971, the adjoining building to the church was built to serve as classrooms and as a dining hall. Reverend Thomas served as pastor of Damascus Church longer than either of the previous pastors. His tenure lasted January 27, 1931, until his death, January 13, 1980, a term of 49 years. After the death of Reverend Thomas, the church sought out a new pastor. In a called meeting May 1980, the congregation voted to accept Elder Arnold Stanton Sr., who came as pastor in September 1980. The third church was built and dedicated to God in August 1986. The contractor was Damascus' own deacon, George A. Harris Sr. The new sanctuary led to the name changing from Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA to Greater Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA. On September 25, 1994, Elder Stanton resigned as pastor of Greater Damascus Church. His tenure lasted 14 years. Damascus Church has produced 5 sons of the house during previous pastors. They are the late C.B. Tate Sr., Reverend Ellis Blackwell Jr., Elder Henry Smiley, Elder Andre Tyler, and Elder Nicholas Tanner. January 1st, 1995, Greater Damascus Church was without a pastor. Elder Clifton Goodlow Jr., accompanied by his lovely wife, Sister Dolores Goodlow, came and conducted the morning service. Elder Clifton Goodlow's text was taken from Acts 24, verses 10 through 16, and the thought was, "Let your conscience be your guide." On Monday, January 2nd, 1995, the church's first business meeting of the new year was conducted by Bishop Maurice B. Bingham, presiding prelate of the South Central Diocese of the Church of Christ Holiness, USA. Bishop Bingham was accompanied by Elder Eddie Jones, Jr., pastor of Crystal Springs Church of Christ Holiness, USA. In this business meeting, the congregation of Greater Damascus Church voted to accept Elder Clifton Goodlow Jr. as pastor. On January 8, 1995, Elder Clifton Goodlow Jr. became pastor of Greater Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA. Elder Goodlow's text was taken from 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5, and the thought was, a call for self-examination. Elder Goodlow's main goal and objective is to preach God's Word in His fullness. So when men, women, boys, and girls hear the Word, that they might be convicted and become saved. During Elder Goodlow's tenure, 15 men were ordained deacons. Of the 15 deacons, 3 became elders of the Church of Christ Holiness, USA. Elder Richard Thomas, Elder Bertram Goodlow Sr., Elder Clifton Goodlow III. Under Elder Goodlow's leadership, Greater Damascus has produced 6 sons of the house. Elder Nicholas Tanner, May 10, 1998. Elder Richard Thomas, July 21, 2013. Elder Bertram Goodlow Sr., August 3, 2013. Elder Sean Daniel Sr., October 12, 2014. Minister Calvin Bogan and Elder Clifton Goodlow III, January 10, 2016. Sunday, May 2019. Elder Goodlow announced to his congregation that he will be retiring as pastor of Greater Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA. Monday, January 10, 2019. Members of Greater Damascus Church, along with Bishop Joseph R. Campbell Jr., presiding prelate of the South Central Diocese of the Church of Christ Holiness, USA, met in a special call business meeting. In this meeting, Bishop Campbell announced that our pastor, Elder Clifton Goodlow Jr., would be retiring as pastor of Greater Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA, effective December 31st, 2019, and recommended that Elder Clifton Goodlow III, son of the house, would become pastor in waiting, effective July 1st, 2019, and pastor of Greater Damascus Church, effective January 1st, 2020. Members voted to accept the resignation of Elder Clifton Goodlow Jr. and to accept Bishop Campbell's recommendation. Bishop Campbell emphasized that Elder Clifton Goodlow Jr. would remain pastor of Greater Damascus Church from July 1st, 2019 until December 31st, 2020, and he would become pastor emeritus January the 1st, 2020. Elder Clifton Goodlow Jr. preached his last sermon as pastor of Greater Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA, on Sunday, December 28, 2019. His text was taken from Acts chapter 20, verses 20 through 24, and the thought was, can it really be done? In this sermon, Elder Goodlow reflected and spoke of the past, the present, and future to evaluate his course. Elder Goodlow, like the Apostle Paul, was determined to finish his course with joy. During Elder Goodlow Jr.'s leadership as pastor, there have been many firsts. Two of the most notable firsts are Sister Orly McGee Booker being the only member to reach a milestone of 100 years old, and first time in Damascus, Greater Damascus history, a son, Elder Clifton Goodlow III, will succeed his father, Elder Clifton Goodlow Jr., as pastor. Elder Clifton Goodlow Jr. is the sixth pastor of Damascus, Greater Damascus Church, since its beginning in a Bush Harbor in 1864. Sunday, January the 5th, 2020. A new chapter begins in the history of Greater Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA. Elder Clifton Goodlow III became the seventh pastor of Damascus, Greater Damascus Church of Christ Holiness, USA. Elder Clifton Goodlow III's text was taken from Joshua chapter 5, verses 2 through 8, and the thought was, be patient, your story is not finished yet. The subtopic was, you are under the knife. Thus far, under the leadership and guidance of Elder Clifton Goodlow III, 3 deacons have been added to the deacon board. Deacon Albert Morris Sr., Deacon Willie DeMyers III, Deacon Darian Maury, 1 deacon in training, Brother Andre Watson, and 1 son of the house, Minister Marvin Davis Sr. Damascus, Greater Damascus Church, has had a grand possession of Christian soldiers who labored for many, many years and laid a solid foundation for generations to follow. 160 years. In the Holiness Movement, 128 years. And 7 pastors since its beginning. What a legacy! Submitted by Sister Pearl Father Reed, historian.